So one of the themes of the conference this year is around strengthening our state's infrastructure. Yesterday, I talked with two leaders in this space. Here's that conversation. Infrastructure, the growth of the economy, energy. These are all topics that we're talking about this week at the Mackinac Policy Conference. And I'm super excited to be thrilled by two folks who think a lot about this, whose jobs revolve around this. Joy Harris, President and COO of DTE Energy. Hello.
Good
Great.
afternoon.
Yeah, right.
Time goes fast here.
And Zach Kolodin, Chief Infrastructure Officer of the state of Michigan. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So, Joy, as I said, we're talking a lot about infrastructure and jobs and energy and how this is all going to work into our future. When we talk about the future of Michigan, what's your thinking when you're thinking about how these all revolve together?
Yeah, we are vitally important to the well-being of the state. We know we are the provider of energy for thousands, even millions of customers across the state. And we're working hard to make sure that the energy that we supply is reliable, it's cleaner, it's available when needed, and we want to enroll others in helping us do that. And so creating the jobs that are needed to build out the infrastructure, to modernize it, that's one of the things that we do at DTE. And we can't do all the work ourselves. So it is an awesome opportunity to engage our youth, to engage others in helping us build the future of energy right here in Michigan.
Who needs to be at the table having that conversation?
Educators need to be at the table. We want to make sure that our kids are ready to assume the roles when the opportunity presents themselves. Skilled trades needs to be at the table. We got to make sure that the skilled trades workers have the equipment that they need, they're ready to roll. We also need to have all of our regulators at the table, making sure that, we're keeping our rates affordable, but at the same time, we're focused heavily on ensuring that the grid is going to last. It's going to last long into the future, and we can make the investments that we need to make that happen.
So, Zach, your job literally is to take federal dollars for infrastructure and make sure that it's being spent in Michigan. How do you do that with an eye on the future of the state and all of these conversations that we're having about what we want Michigan to look like?
Yeah, that's such a good question. This really is a once-in-a-generation opportunity to revitalize our infrastructure and to build for the future. President Biden's Investing in America package, which is Inflation Reduction Act for climate, bipartisan infrastructure law for infrastructure, and CHIPS and Science for advanced manufacturing, affords us this unique opportunity to remake our state and lower costs for people, provide better infrastructure services. So first and foremost, that starts with our roads and bridges. The governor launched Rebuilding Michigan in 2019 to rebuild our most important thoroughfares, our highways that connect our whole state. With the passage of the bipartisan infrastructure law, we're able to do major projects like replace the Lafayette Bascule Bridge, like the 375 Boulevard replacement in the city of Detroit. And we're able to replace archaic water infrastructure, get the lead out of our service lines, provide new wastewater plants so that we can continue growing our state. So these are sort of the core investments that are needed to grow Michigan, to build for the future. And then we also get the amazing opportunity to start to look toward the future of energy, building, new clean energy infrastructure, new transmission lines, everything that we need to fully transition our economy to a zero carbon future.
I'm so curious because the things that you're talking about building take a long time. Yeah, right? Roads, bridges. Some take longer than the other. We know, Gordie Howe Bridge is just going to start, being connected. But when you're thinking about building for the future, what does that timeline look like, right? Many of us we're going to paint our house. Okay, so you paint the house this year. What you're talking about and building and thinking about is things that you may not be done with for a few years. How do you deal with that?
Well,
Joy, I'll start with you.
One step at a time is how we deal with
Yeah.
it. There are near-term improvements that we need to make that are short-cycle work, and we've got a clear line of sight on that work. It does take a long time to totally transform our generating fleet. But we started the design process very early. We began to do resource adequacy studies. It's like a 5-year process before you bring on a new sustainable resource. And we've been at this. We've got a lot of history behind us. We've been in existence for a long time, so we know how to do it. But we've got our engineers hard at work modeling what the needs will be now and into the future. And this is a routine that we run every couple of years to refresh what is like a 20-year plan. And the first 10 years of that plan, we have a pretty solid understanding what the needs will be. And then the second 10 years is something that we continue to model and update as time progresses. But it is an iterative process, and it gets refreshed every couple of years, and the output then turns into generation build, or it may turn into transmission needs. But we work in partnership with others that work this sector as well, and share that information so that we can continue to serve the state.
Ryan, same question for you. Like, I feel like you need a futurist sitting next to you at your desk, or maybe you do that, but who's going like, here's what we need right now, but here's what we want it to look like in a decade, or here's what we want the state to look like in 20 years, but you've got to start building it now.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. We, at the state, do plan for the future, and we take that very seriously. So, you know, the Department of Transportation has a 5-year plan, and what this infrastructure funding enables us to do is to look at where that 5-year plan falls short and to expand on it, right? So, you know, we're not just dreaming up a sort of project of the moment, right? We are looking seriously at what the state's full range of transportation needs are, and adding piece by piece so that people can get where they need to go, and, you know, candidly lower their cost of living, right? Like, that's what this is about. It's when somebody takes their commute to work and their windshield is shattered, that's $400 out of their budget. We want to avoid that. And so that is why we take this planning process so seriously. Now, what has changed really rapidly is the outlook in the clean energy space. With the passage of the Clean Energy and Jobs Act just last year, Michigan's outlook for the future of energy has changed dramatically. We now have the ability to cite clean energy projects with a reasonable degree of confidence, and that elevates our horizon for what we can accomplish. So I do think that has changed more rapidly than we're used to, and that's very exciting. And it's something that I'm sure DTE is really grappling with.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we are looking at, you know, what the future needs will be. But right now we have a clear line of sight of at least the first 5 years and what we need to do in terms of ensuring that the generation fleet will be available and ready to serve the community. We are also looking at what, you know, the growth of EVs will mean to the grid and how we continue to build out the grid to serve that load. And then we're looking at infrastructure that, you know, may wind up here, like data centers. If we have the opportunity to bring data centers into the state, how do we begin to position ourselves to serve potentially data centers in our geography? So it is a really exciting time to be in energy. You got to have a lot of energy to do it, because it takes a lot of partnership, a lot of thought, and certainly a lot of work to execute on a really, I think, robust plan.
And a lot of future looking joy. Zach, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.